Welcome back, guys. Equity Podcast. Berek here. Talking cramping today. Two types of cramping. We got workout-induced cramping, and then we have our regular, and we have cramping that happens outside of working out. So the first one with working out, we see this a lot with running. We see it in other areas, but like one of the big ones is running. And with running, it's a lot of repetition, right? It's that same thing. It's that monostructure movement. Rep, right? Every time you hit the ground, every time you strike, that's another rep. On a 400-meter run, you're hitting a lot of strikes, right? And if you do that a lot, 4-rounder, there's a lot of strikes, a lot of repetition. And that muscle starts getting fatigued. It starts using all the resources. And then it runs out of resources to use. And that's where cramping starts to happen. So, we can usually stretch that muscle out a little bit. You see that can definitely help. But one of the big issues that we see is it's a hydration issue. And not just like drink more water hydration, but we need to replenish electrolytes. And electrolytes, you think Gatorade, you think Pedialyte, which isn't necessarily wrong, but there's something else. Like, what are we actually looking for? And the real primary ones are potassium, magnesium, and salt. Like those are the big three when it comes to electrolytes. Like getting some sugars in there can definitely help, but the big three are the potassium, magnesium, and salt. Getting those in, when we deplete those, the muscles need those in order to work properly, and they get dehydrated in that process. So we need to make sure that we're staying hydrated so we don't have that cramping. That's why you see people that doing triathlons or half marathons or marathons, they do gel packs or different ways to rehydrate. And it's not just drinking water. One of the issues with drinking water is if let's say we're working out and we have these electrolytes in our system, right? And they're already low. So let's say they're at, I'm just making up a number. Let's say it's at 10%, right? Let's say it's at 10%. That's our electrolyte number. And then we drink water. What does water do when you add something to it? When you add water to something, what does it do? It dilutes it. So now we're diluting our electrolyte level. So now instead of 10%, we're down even lower to 9% or 8% or whatever. So we're actually diluting, and we are reducing our electrolytes. We're not necessarily hydrating in the way that we need, right? And that's when we get into some kind of, the Fit Aids and Element and Gatorade and Pedialyte, whatever it is, that can help replenish those rates. So, during a workout, that can help. Generally, if you're just working out during the day, like your regular workout during the day, the issue isn't your hydration during the workout, right? It's an hour. You cannot drink something for an hour. You'll live, I promise. It's the hydration before and after. I didn't drink any water today. I haven't had any type of, meaningful nutrition today. I haven't had any type of electrolytes at all today. I haven't had any magnesium, potassium, or salt. That's when it starts becoming an issue. Or, we're good before the workout, but then after the workout, it's like then we've depleted all of those, and now we need to reintegrate them. We need to bring those in. So that's why Fit Aids are so nice after. Element, again, I love that one a lot. It's one of my favorites. I throw that in there post-workout. So really helpful on the day-to-day basis. And then this can also come into that if we're doing a competition or you're doing 2-a-days or something where you're working out a lot. This is where, nutrition, pre and post-workout nutrition is really huge and can really, you really have to pay attention to it. And competition days, like you're going to be depleting your body. So making sure to get electrolytes in is going to be super helpful. And just drinking water isn't gonna it's gonna help, but you you're missing a little bit. There's some more that you can add to that to help. And we've talked about some of those options before. So getting those 3 in post-workout can help. And if you look at the Fit Aid, it definitely has that. It's not high on the salt. It has a little bit of caffeine in it as well. So depending when you're doing that post-workout is good or bad. Element that doesn't have any caffeine in it, has salt, potassium, magnesium in it. You just add that to water and bam, good to go. The other type, so those are the big ones. The other for the working out, when you're cramping during the workout. There is some other overuse, like, hey, are you leaning to one side than the other, right? If you're cramping on one leg and not the other, there might be an imbalance there, and we can work on that. But generally, it's a hydration issue. The other type is that cramp that you get in the middle of the night. you just wake up, you're, oh, cramp. So this can, it's probably started with a fatigue issue, right? Like, hey, you were using that muscle a lot, or like you're in a weird position, and like that's how it can start. But generally speaking, when we're looking at a cramp that's happening not around exercise, you're generally at a magnesium deficit, and adding a little bit of a magnesium supplement can help prevent that. They talk about eating bananas to help prevent cramps, and that can definitely help, getting some vitamin C and potassium. But magnesium usually is the issue. Magnesium is what helps move everything. It helps move stuff in and out, and so if you're low on that, you're not able to properly feed those muscles, and that's when we get into that issue. So, I am. A lot of this information came from Dan Gardner. I really like him. He used to have a podcast, and he doesn't do it anymore, but it's still in like the podcast world. Like, you can find his stuff. He has a lot of awesome stuff, especially about hydration. And you can find his stuff. Dan Gardner, really good. I like him a lot. And he's now on the Barbell Shrug podcast. Good stuff from him. He's a really smart guy. And that's where I got most of this stuff, or kind of finishing up and wrapping it in a nice bow. So, wrap it up. If you're cramping during workouts, it's most likely a hydration issue. All right, start working on pre and post hydration. Make sure we're not just drinking water, which is obviously very important. We need to be drinking water, but make sure we're getting some of those electrolytes. Like I said, potassium, magnesium, and we need to be getting some salt, right? Generally, people are like, oh, salt's bad. Well, if you're eating real whole food, you're actually probably not getting enough salt. So make sure we're getting that in. If you're eating a lot of processed food, you probably don't need more salt. With the cramping outside of working out, most likely it's probably a magnesium issue. So that's just something to play with. Now, overdoing magnesium supplementation, it's not necessarily bad, but it can, magnesium is also used as a diuretic. So, if you're getting a colonoscopy or something like that, they give you magnesium, higher levels of magnesium to clear you out. So if you start taking magnesium and you're going more frequently, you probably are not at a deficit, and you're probably not having cramping issues. So, or it's something else is happening. All right, that's it. It's cramping. If you have any questions about that, let me know. When do you cramp? And we'll see if we can dial in exactly what could help you get there. I love doing these. I appreciate you guys tuning in and checking it out. Cheers.